On my mom's anniversary with her new husband, whom she cheated with, I gave her a gift that reminded her of her affair. She cried her husband, called me names, and I walked out. I'm 16, male, and I love my mom, 35, but when I was 10, she had an affair and left us. I visited her as often as I could, and she always seemed so happy when I was there, but I hated her new family, so I stopped visiting. Honestly, we rarely ever saw each other after just for my birthday and events, really. She wants us to be close, but I want nothing to do with her new husband, so I've kept my distance. Except on Feb 20th, my dad announced he'd be out on business till the 12th, and my grandparents are stuck visiting relatives in Italy. And so I really had nowhere to go, and my mom jumped at the chance to have me stay with her. And just my luck that my mom's anniversary with her husband was on Sunday. I haven't had a good time here at all, so all I do is stay in my room doing homework or go out with friends to avoid family activities cause it sucks, seeing how lovey-dovey she is with her husband and how they seem like the perfect family with their daughters. The morning before her anniversary day, she came to my bed and tried to cuddle with me like before she left us, but it made me angry like we can't go back in time and pretend it's how it was. So I just pretended to be asleep and stayed curled up and frozen till she left. I started crying cause of that, and I felt angry and snarky, and my mom majored in literature, so I got her a copy of Anna Karenina for her anniversary. That book about a lady who leaves her husband and son for her lover. I've never read it, but I watched the movie with my girlfriend and I hated it. The anniversary party was on Sunday. Everyone was having fun but me, and then people gave their gifts. I gave mine, and when my mom saw what it was, she seemed shocked but just said thanks. The party ended like an hour after, but at night when she was in her room, I heard her crying really loudly. So I kinda eavesdropped a little and heard her saying stuff about that book and me and her husband trying to calm her. The next day at breakfast, she left for work early before I woke up, and her husband straight up called me an a-hole and other stuff for gifting them that. It's been a few days now, and my mom has barely talked to me. Honestly, I feel so wrong I made my mom cry, but at the same time, I don't want to be here, and she knows that, so am I really the a-hole? Edit. Thankfully, the mods have locked this. But to everyone who keeps DMing me, here's some facts to read before you do. I gave my mom the book to try and get it across to her that I hate being at her house and being around her family, and that it hurts me to be there because I sympathized with the son from the movie, not because I want a train to run her over. I do not want that to happen to my mom. 2. I do not want my dad to get back together with my mom. He's happy with his fiancée. My dad has his reasons for not wanting me to go to therapy and is just being protective. 4. Yes, I stopped visiting my mom because I hate her husband, but she had custody of me on weekends or breaks. She could have forced me to be with her, but since being with him or making him be with us whenever I did go to her was more important, she never tried anything beyond the bare minimum of going to big events. Update 1. Posting this now cause people keep messaging me about it. The day after I posted, I let my girlfriend read it and she was like, "Stay with me, dummy." I told my dad he said I could stay there and sent my girlfriend's mom an email. At my mom's home, I told her she got really sad but said okay, she'd drive me and sent an email too. I still wanted to talk alone to my mom like people said to. As she drove, I wanted to talk like the school counselor helped me write a letter to read like some people said to, but I just froze. And she drove to a parking lot and started talking. She said a lot of stuff about the book, about still seeing me like I'm her baby, her not actually being happy and about us, but ended with her saying it's okay for me to hate her for what she did cause she hurt me, and she'd never push to be my mom again, but if I ever wanted, she'd be there for me. But I don't hate her, I love her. So I started crying really bad. I've never had a breakdown, but I think that's what it was. I remember her taking me to the back seat and hugging me and me trying to say I love her while crying, but it's a blur. She calmed me down, and I told her how I feel, and I do want her to be my mom. Just, I hate her husband, and I don't want a train to hit her. I even told her about when she tried to cuddle, and how I feel bad now, 'cause that'll never happen again, 'cause I'm never going back to her house. She told me she knew I was awake, and was mad at her, so I started crying again. She told me it was okay and she's wrong and we talked a lot, but I kept crying, so she got me Advil because my head started hurting. She seemed sad. I hate her husband, but got really mad at him when I told her all the mean things he said to me and said she'd never let him get between us again. She said she'd take me to therapy with just her no matter what dad says and to spend time with me alone. She dropped me off and I've felt better since I stayed there until my dad came back. My dad promised never to send me there again and to stay at my girlfriend's if my grandparents stay in Italy. He agreed to let me do family therapy with my mom, but he said he'd ensure it's appropriate. We haven't started it yet, but my mom has kept her promise to spend time with me so far, and it does make me feel happier. I didn't think the last post would blow up like it did, So I hope with this update you guys don't have to worry much anymore because I think it's getting better. Edit 1. Everyone says individual therapy. But my dad has nothing against therapy. He doesn't like therapists and psychologists cause of stuff that happened to him when he was younger than me. He's just being overprotective of me, and I'm not saying he's right. But honestly, it's scary to me too, even if I know the same won't happen to me. But I also don't know how I can just open up to a stranger without my mom or my dad there. Edit 2. I don't like my stepdad because he met my mom through my dad through work, and he still went after her even though he knew she was married and had me. And after she left, every single time I tried to be alone with her or do something with her, he'd always get involved like he was trying to be a mediator or like I could only see her through him, and when he couldn't go, he'd make sure to send their kids. He'd always try and make me respect him as a stepdad and would get upset when I didn't or didn't do things with him that I'd do with my mom or dad. Then when I stopped talking to him entirely, he'd say I was being too stubborn for my own good, would call me a mule, say my mom deserved better than me and other stuff. He never actually cursed me out until I gave the book. Update 2. So just an update posting during locker break, so I can't respond till later because some people are curious and are messaging me. So here's like a mass update. I've been going to therapy with my mom every day on Fridays, but we hang out just the two of us for on Saturdays and Sundays. Like our first weekend together, she took me to see Batman, and the day after we went to Boston Pizza. Since then, we've really just been going on walks and hikes or even shopping, but I like that because we get to talk a lot. And we talk on FaceTime every day. It really does feel like I've gotten her back as my mom, and that's what I wanted. The best part is that when we hug now, it's like we're actually hugging, and before it was like, I did it because I had to, and I guess it just feels so special. Like, I don't know, but I feel really happy, which I didn't before. I guess it was like I was missing something, because even my girlfriend has said that I seem a lot happier than before. Therapy has been really weird. It's not at all what I thought it would be. Like before the first meeting, my dad talked to the psychologist for like half an hour, like he was interrogating her. But then my mom and I had the session. It was like the psychologist was focused on that book and why it made my mom cry and everything. The sessions since then have been weird because it's like I end up crying a lot. So my mom always brings a bottle of Gatorade for me. My mom does end up crying too, but she always tries to hide it and not show. And when the therapist asked why, she said because she doesn't want her crying to influence what I'm saying or how I'm feeling. I still don't feel comfortable going alone, even though the therapist has said it, and my mom said she'll take me, and is going to start going on her own too, but I just don't feel ready. Oh, and in therapy, I did tell her I was worried that she was only doing all of this cause she wanted to bring me into her family, and when she figured out it would never happen, she would just choose her husband again and leave me for good. That made her cry a lot, and she couldn't even hold it in, and she was like, it's because she's finally starting to understand that I don't trust her and I might never trust her again, and she knows it's all her fault. She did promise me again, though, that I'd never have to see her husband, and she'd only bring her daughters when I wanted, and that she'd never let him stop her from going to my graduations and my wedding. When she kind of calmed down, she did say that the only time I'd have to deal with him was at her funeral, but I don't want to think about that. I don't want to write too much about what happened in therapy, but I guess I kind of felt like I should share that. Easter was the best holiday I've had in a while, even though I didn't go anywhere. My mom's husband took their kids to see his parents, and she stayed behind. We spent so much time that weekend together. For part of it, I kind of felt like a little kid again. I even got to properly introduce her to my girlfriend and to my girlfriend's mom, and we all had Easter dinner together. Like, my mom made the turkey, and it was amazing. I didn't know how much I missed it, but it tasted exactly like it did when I was little. And I did finally admit to her that my grandparents aren't coming back from Italy, and that's why I was feeling so down recently. I also admitted that Dad and his fiancée are going to move to Catania after I graduate, and are going to stay there, and that I'll probably go to university in Catania and Palermo. She was sad, and she did admit she didn't want me to go because I'd end up moving summer next year, and that's not that far away, and she probably wouldn't see me in person at all. But she did say she'd support me no matter what I chose. And a lot of our sessions since then have kind of focused on me going to university there. Yesterday on Mother's Day, her husband went to see his parents again, and my mom and I were already going to a restaurant called Cactus Club together. I didn't know if he was taking their kids, and if he wasn't, I know I would have felt bad if they didn't get to celebrate Mother's Day with her too, so I said she could bring them. I don't really know the girls that well, but it was still a good time. My mom brought her camera with her, because she hates using the one on the phone, and she got our waitress to take a photo of all of us together at the end. I did have the waitress take the photos again on my phone so I could send them to her, and she could have them on her phone. I guess that's another update for everyone who was asking. I don't mind updating, and I like talking to the people who comment her or on that repost subreddit, But I'm gonna tell my mom I've been posting. If she says I can keep posting, then I will, but if she tells me to stop, then this is the last one. Edit forgot to post this before. I brought up my posts with my mom during therapy. My mom doesn't really understand Reddit, so she was fine with it, and said that as long as I stayed safe, I can keep doing it. The therapist said something like, if it helps me validate what I'm feeling inside, then it may be a good idea to continue. So I guess I can keep posting. Update 3. So I guess to give an update, my exams are all done and it's summer break now. But I got into AP English. I got 2 lists of books from my teacher because he wants us to read them over the summer to be prepared. On one list, it's books like Wuthering Heights, The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick, and Frankenstein. And he said we absolutely should read through those since we'll be choosing 2 of them to do essays and stuff on. On the other list, it's just a giant list of books that he recommends reading to be prepared. It's a really big list, and of course Anna Karenina is on the list. My girlfriend saw that and was like, well, good thing you already bought that one. Anyway, because my mom knows all those books, I gave her the lists before we went to our therapy session, and she agreed to take me to Indigo or to some old bookstores to get me the best versions of them, because some of them are translated from other languages. I still don't feel comfortable doing therapy without her. I don't know. I just don't think that I'm going to be able to speak up without her there. She's pushing me to do it, but I just can't. Even she's done some sessions alone through Teams. But like, if I do it alone and I end up crying, I don't want the therapist to hug me, and if it's at home, I don't want my dad or his fiancée to wonder what's wrong. My dad still doesn't like that I'm doing therapy. He actually had a really big fight with his fiancée about it because when her niece and nephew move in, she's going to send them to therapy. He's like, they shouldn't go because they can't speak English, and it might turn out like it did for him because he couldn't speak English when he had to go as a kid. It sucked because I got roped into it and my mom ended up being called and she threatened to pull the custody card on dad to make it clear I'd still be going with her. He did say sorry to me after and that he'll try and be more supportive and get over being scared. Anyway, my mom bought me The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick, and Frankenstein because she said that Wuthering Heights will probably bore me. And from the other list, she got me The Count of Monte Cristo, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, and Catch-22. She also gave me the copy of Anna Karenina that I gave her and said she would like for me to read it because it might help me understand why getting that hurt her so much, but that if it gets too much, I can just give it back to her. I guess I saw the movie How Bad Can It Be? And my mom also said that she wants to take me on a trip somewhere in August. Because if I move to Italy with everybody next summer, then we probably won't ever have a proper vacation again. I don't know if I want to go, but if it means so much to her, then maybe I will. I just guess I'm scared that maybe her husband will end up coming, even though she said that he won't. I guess that's another update for whoever still cares. I'll keep posting as long as I have something I want to write about. I do like venting on here, and since the therapist has recommended I continue, I guess I will. Story 2. In the heat of an argument, my brother-in-law revealed my husband's infidelity. He sent me screenshots of their conversations as proof, but my husband claims they're faked. We had a party last night. My brother-in-law, Chris, attended. He's 10 years younger than my husband. Near the end of the party, about 2 a.m., I was in the kitchen cleaning up. He was out on the deck talking to Jennifer, a woman Chris graduated with who lives nearby. They had both been drinking. The porch door was open, so even though I wasn't eavesdropping, it was impossible not to hear what they were saying. Chris was flirting with her. He kept complimenting her, saying how beautiful and pretty she was, etc. I guess at one point she pulled up his Facebook and saw that he has a girlfriend. He said she was lovely. Jennifer said, "Thank you. It looks like your girlfriend is lovely as well." Chris started saying how they were going through something. Right now they weren't technically together. It was an open relationship, everything he could think of. Jennifer was being really cool about it. She kept saying thank you and how she appreciated his compliments, but she wasn't interested. He was getting kind of annoyed. And at one point he said, "I bet if I was my brother, you'd have no issues with this." Jennifer said, "Your brother is actually loyal, he wouldn't cheat on his wife." To which Chris replied, "My brother cheats on his wife all the time." Jennifer replied, she doubted that was true, and Chris said that he freaked someone he worked with and that he was planning to freak her as well, and that clearly his plan was working since Jennifer idolizes my husband. At this point, Jennifer told him he was acting out of line and needed to go sober up and walked away. Chris came storming into the kitchen and saw I was there. He told me something along the lines of how all of that crap he said was true and how my husband never gets held accountable. He then proceeded to go into the garage and have a huge screaming fight with my husband in the fight. Chris said that he didn't deserve anything he had, and my husband had forced Chris to keep his secrets. My husband said that Chris was a liar who wanted to ruin my husband's life since he was jealous that he's better off in life than Chris is. For relevant context here, Chris was struggling a lot a few years ago, while my husband and I were buying a house, having our first child, etc. And I know he harbors some resentment from that time. It ended with my husband kicking Chris out. He immediately told me everything Chris said was a lie, that he was just trying to cause chaos. But when I woke up this morning, Chris had texted me about 20 pictures and videos that were screenshots and screen recordings of conversations between my husband and Chris, talking about how he had gotten drunk and slept with a coworker years ago, conversations between the two of them about Jennifer that were overtly intimate, and showed that he was clearly planning to at least try to hook up with her. There were photos included in these messages. My husband said they were all faked, and he said my brother-in-law has been planning this for a while. I know it's easy to fake a screenshot of a conversation, but there were screen recordings too, as in, I could see the Messenger app being opened and him clicking on the conversation and everything. The recent conversations match the recent conversations in my husband's phone, but my husband doesn't have any of the incriminating messages my brother-in-law does. Are screen recordings something you can fake? And any other advice on what I should do here is really appreciated. Please stop saying I am in denial, I'm blindly believing my husband, etc. I am posting here looking for more information so I can make an informed decision and not make a rash decision. I have not stated either way who I do or do not believe. For clarification, my husband is not claiming my brother-in-law faked all of these screenshots last night. He's saying this is something my brother-in-law has been planning to do for a while. He said he's always harbored resentment for him. This is true. Chris is very resentful of my husband, so he says Chris could have done this at any time and just had them ready. Small update. Thank you, everyone. I am meeting up with my brother-in-law to see his phone in person to see the messages and verify if they're real or not. Update. The old post hit a comment limit and got locked before I could write what I found out. My husband and I both went over my brothers-in-law. My husband was remaining adamant that he'd never sent those messages or cheated on me. When we got to Chris's house, he was able to provide the screenshots and screen grabs, but not the actual messages. He claimed he deleted the messages after he got storage trouble on his phone. Even so, my brother-in-law insisted the SS were real and that my husband just deleted the messages off his phone. My husband and I went as far as to go online and check our itemized bill. There are days where my brother-in-law has screenshots where, according to our phone bill, my husband never texted him that day, or even the days before or days following for that matter. I don't know why my brother-in-law had these fabricated conversations, nor when he was planning to reveal them, or if he just made them to have just in case to use as blackmail or to threaten him. He used an app to create them. We didn't get much out of him as far as reasoning. We're going to go very low contact with my brother-in-law for the time being. I thought his and my husband's relationship was getting better, but it clearly isn't. For what it's worth, the co-worker that my husband apparently slept with was 3 days postpartum with her and her husband's third child when my brother-in-law claims the affair happened. Additional info: he's been wanting to hook up with Jennifer and she has absolutely no interest in him. But he overheard Jennifer talking about what an amazing husband and father my husband is. So after she rejected him again, that set him off. Why my brother-in-law is resentful of my husband. He resents my brother because of the way their parents treated them. My husband never got into any trouble. His parents treated him well. When we got married, they gave us the down payment for our house. They paid off both of our college debts so we could have a clean start. My brother-in-law was more rambunctious as a child, so he was always treated like a criminal and eventually began behaving the part. My in-laws never helped him financially when he needed it. My father-in-law is very tough on him.